Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, I just don't look as bright as I feel inside? Not older, not worse, just a little tired, a little flat, like something is missing. And maybe you've wondered if makeup is even worth the effort anymore. Maybe it feels complicated, or maybe the techniques that worked in your 30s just don't seem to work the same way now. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. So many women I speak with say the same thing. They don't want heavy makeup. They don't want to spend 30 minutes in front of the mirror. They just want to look fresh, natural, and like themselves, only a little more radiant. And here's the beautiful truth, you absolutely can. In this video, I'm going to gently walk you through a simple, natural makeup routine designed especially for women over 60. Nothing complicated, nothing overwhelming. Just a few thoughtful steps that bring back that glow, that softness, that sparkle in your eyes, in just a few minutes. And the best part? You don't need perfect skin, you don't need expensive tools, and you don't need to follow strict rules. You just need a few small habits that work with your skin, not against it. So let's begin right at the foundation of everything, and that's not makeup. It's your skin. Before I even think about putting on makeup, I always start with skincare. And I'm not talking about a long routine with 10 different products. I mean something simple, something nurturing. Because as we age, our skin changes. It becomes a little drier, a little thinner, and it needs a bit more kindness. One of my favorite little secrets is using a facial oil before makeup. Just a few drops. I warm it between my hands and gently press it into my skin. Not rubbing harshly, just pressing. It gives your skin this soft, hydrated base that makeup can sit on beautifully. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, oil. Won't that make my skin greasy? And that's a fair question. But the right facial oil doesn't sit on top of your skin, it sinks in. It actually helps your makeup look smoother, not shinier. And if your skin tends to feel dry or tight, this step alone can make such a difference. I like to let it settle for a minute or two. Just enough time to absorb. And already, your skin starts to look more alive, more comfortable. Then we move into foundation. And this is where many women go wrong, not because they don't know what to do, but because they're using too much. At this stage of life, less truly is more. You don't need a thick layer. In fact, heavy foundation can settle into fine lines and make the skin look older instead of fresher. What I like to do is take just a tiny amount, really, just a little dab, and warm it between my fingers. And instead of brushing it on or layering it heavily, I simply press and smooth it onto my skin with my hands. Almost like I'm applying a moisturizer. It feels natural, it blends easily, and it doesn't create that mask-like effect. If there are areas where you need a bit more coverage, maybe around the nose or a small spot, you can gently tap a little extra there. But overall, keep it light. Let your real skin show through. That's what gives you that healthy, natural look. And here's something important to remember. Your goal is not perfection. Your goal is softness. Warmth. A gentle, even tone that still looks like you. Once the foundation is on, you might notice something subtle, but beautiful already happening. Your skin looks calmer. More unified. Like it's had a good night's rest. Now we add a little life back into the face, and this is where blush becomes your best friend. As we get older, our skin can sometimes lose that natural flush it used to have. That soft pink or peach tone that made us look vibrant. And blush brings that right back, but only if we use it gently. I love using a cream blush for this. It blends more naturally into the skin than powder and gives that soft, dewy finish. I take just a small amount with my fingertips and tap it onto the apples of my cheeks. Not too low, not too close to the nose. Just right on the part of your cheek that lifts when you smile. And then I blend it upward slightly, very softly. No harsh lines. Just a gentle wash of color. It's amazing what this step does. Suddenly, your face looks more awake, more lifted, more alive. And it doesn't look like makeup. It just looks like you've had a lovely walk outside or a good laugh with a friend. And that's exactly the feeling we want. Now that the skin has that warmth and glow, we move to the eyes, but again, we're keeping everything soft and simple. For eyeshadow, I always recommend starting with neutral tones. Something like a soft taupe, a gentle brown, or a muted beige. Nothing too dark, nothing too shimmery. Just something that adds a bit of depth without overwhelming your features. I like to use my fingers for this. It might not be the professional way, but it's easy, it's quick, and it works beautifully. Just take a small amount and press it onto your eyelids. You don't need to build layers or create complicated shapes. Just a soft wash of color across the lid. If your eyelids have a bit of texture or creasing, and most of ours do, this method actually works better than heavy powders. It moves with your skin instead of sitting on top of it. And what you'll notice is that your eyes start to look more defined, but still natural. There's a softness there, a quiet elegance. And at this point, something very lovely happens. You look in the mirror and you don't see makeup. You see yourself, just a little brighter, a little more refreshed. And that's really the heart of this entire routine. Not covering up. Not changing who you are. Just gently enhancing what's already there. Now, as we continue, we'll start to bring more definition to the features in a way that still feels effortless and light. And one of the most important features we can gently bring back to life is the eyebrows. Now, I want to say this softly, because I know many of us have had a long history with our brows. Some of us overplucked in the past, some of us have thinning hair now, and some days they just seem to disappear altogether. And when the brows fade, the whole face can lose a bit of its structure. But here's the good news, you don't need bold, dramatic brows to make a difference. In fact, the softer and more natural they look, the more youthful and elegant your face will appear. What I like to do is use a simple eyebrow pencil. Nothing fancy. And the key here is to use a very light hand. Instead of drawing a solid line, I make tiny, feather-like strokes, just filling in the little gaps where the hair is sparse. And I always remind myself, step back and look. It's so easy to go too dark or too heavy without realizing it. Especially if your hair is lighter now, a softer brow will always look more natural than a strong, defined one. Even just a few small strokes can frame your face beautifully. It brings balance back. It gives your eyes a place to sit, if that makes sense. And suddenly, everything looks a bit more put together without looking overdone. Now once the brows are softly filled in, we can add just a touch more definition to the eyes. And this is where eyeliner comes in, but again, we're keeping it gentle. If you've ever felt like eyeliner makes your eyes look smaller or harsher than you'd like, you're not imagining it. Heavy, dark lines can do that, especially as the eye area becomes more delicate with age. So instead of a strong black line, I often reach for a softer color, light gray or a muted brown. Something that defines without shouting. And instead of drawing a thick, solid line, I like to apply it as close to the lash line as possible, almost like I'm just deepening the base of the lashes. Sometimes I even gently smudge it with my fingertip so it looks softer, more diffused. You don't have to line the entire eye. Even just a little definition on the outer half can make your eyes look more lifted and open. And here's a little trick. If you ever feel unsure, use less. You can always add more, but it's harder to take it away once it's too much. At this stage, your eyes are starting to come alive in a very quiet, graceful way. Nothing dramatic, nothing harsh. Just a soft definition that brings attention back to your natural beauty. Now let's move to the lips, because this is another area where a few small changes can make a world of difference. As we age, the natural lip line can become less defined, and sometimes the color fades a bit. So using a lip liner isn't about making your lips look bigger in an obvious way. It's about restoring that gentle shape. I like to choose a lip liner that's close to my natural lip color, or just slightly deeper. And instead of drawing a sharp, obvious outline, I softly trace just along the edge of my lips, sometimes just slightly outside, very subtly. It's not about overlining dramatically. It's about creating a soft boundary, so your lipstick has something to hold on to. And one thing I've found really helpful is to lightly fill in the lips with the liner, not just outline them. This gives a base color and helps your lipstick last longer without fading unevenly. Then comes one of my favorite parts, lipstick. Now, you don't need a drawer full of shades. Just one or two that make you feel good. For me, I love colors that have a bit of warmth, like a soft peach or a gentle pink. Shades that bring life to the face without overpowering it. And sometimes, I like to blend two colors together. Just a little bit of one, a little bit of another. It creates a shade that feels uniquely yours. When you apply it, don't worry about making it perfect. You can dab it on with your finger if that feels easier. In fact, that often gives a softer, more natural finish than applying straight from the tube. And once it's on, you'll notice something almost magical. Your whole face seems to brighten. Your smile stands out more. There's a warmth that wasn't there before. Now, at this point, everything is already looking soft and beautiful. But there's one more step that really helps the eyes stand out, and that's mascara. I know mascara can sometimes feel tricky. It can clump, it can smudge, and if you've ever had it flake during the day, you know how frustrating that can be. So the key here is not to overdo it. I like to use a mascara with a fuller brush, something that separates the lashes rather than sticking them together. And instead of applying multiple heavy coats, I just do one light layer. I gently wiggle the brush at the base of the lashes and then sweep upward. Just enough to darken the lashes and make the eyes look more open. You don't need to count strokes or build dramatic volume. Just a simple, clean application that adds a little definition. And if you prefer, you can even skip the bottom lashes. Sometimes leaving them natural keeps the look softer and avoids any smudging under the eyes. What you'll notice is that your eyes now have a gentle sparkle. Not because of heavy makeup, but because everything around them has been softly enhanced. And as we continue, we're going to add just a final touch of light and freshness that brings the whole look together in the most effortless way. And this final touch is one of those little secrets that can make everything come together so beautifully without anyone quite knowing why you look so refreshed. It's the highlighter. Now, when you hear that word, you might picture something very shiny or glittery, and I want to reassure you, that's not what we're doing here. We're not trying to sparkle like a disco ball. We're simply bringing a little light back to the face in the most subtle way. I like to use a soft, creamy highlighter, something that blends easily into the skin. And I take just the tiniest amount, truly, less than you think you need. Then I gently tap it just above the cheekbones, where the light would naturally hit. Sometimes I'll add a touch right under the brow bone, and just a whisper at the inner corners of the eyes. And what this does is almost magical. It catches the light in a way that lifts the face, softens the features, and gives that gentle glow that we often associate with youth, but without looking artificial. The key, as always, is restraint. If you can see it sitting on your skin, it's probably too much. But if you just look a little more radiant and can't quite explain why, then you've done it perfectly. Now, if you enjoy a little extra softness on the lips, this is where a touch of lip gloss can come in. And again, we're not going for anything sticky or overly shiny. Just a small dab, right in the center of the lips. That's all you need. It adds a bit of dimension, makes the lips look fuller in a natural way, and gives that fresh, hydrated appearance that pairs so beautifully with everything else we've done. Sometimes I'll just press my lips together gently to blend it in, and that's it. No fuss, no perfection required. And when you step back now and look at yourself in the mirror, something very gentle but very powerful has happened. Your skin looks soft and cared for. Your cheeks have a natural warmth. Your eyes are defined but still kind and open. Your lips have color and life. And yet, you still look like you. Not a different version. Not a covered-up version. Just you, on a really good day. And that's what I want you to take away from all of this. Makeup at this stage of life isn't about hiding anything. It's not about chasing youth or trying to look like someone you were 30 years ago. It's about honoring who you are today and giving yourself those small moments of care that say, I matter. Even if you only do 2 or 3 of these steps on a busy morning, it can change how you feel. And when you feel a little more put together, a little more radiant, it carries into everything else. How you walk, how you speak, how you connect with others. There's a quiet confidence in that. A grace. And I truly believe that beauty at this age isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about warmth. It's about that sparkle in your eyes when you feel comfortable in your own skin. So if you've ever felt like makeup was no longer for you, I gently invite you to rethink that. Not as a routine you have to follow, but as a simple, joyful ritual you can return to whenever you want to feel just a little more like yourself. And I would love to hear from you. Do you have a favorite step in your routine? Is there something you've discovered over the years that makes you feel especially beautiful? Or maybe something you've struggled with and are still figuring out? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might be exactly what another woman needs to hear today. And if this video made you feel encouraged, or gave you even one small idea you can try tomorrow morning, please take a moment to like the video. It really helps us continue sharing content like this. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Elderly Faith Journey, where we talk about simple ways to care for yourself, feel confident, and embrace this stage of life with strength and joy. Because no matter your age, you deserve to feel good when you look in the mirror. Here's to your glow, your confidence, and the beautiful woman you are, today and every day.